Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Nishat, Assistant Professor of Department of Physiology, and today I will be talking about circulation. What is circulation? Circulation is the movement of blood and lymph through a closed system of vessels. The main function of circulation is to transport nutrients to the body tissues, to remove the waste products away from the body, and to transport hormones from different part of the body to another, and to maintain an appropriate environment in the body tissues of the body fluid for the survival and proper functioning of the cells. This is a picture showing the vessel with the exchange of materials from the vessel to the tissues, as well as the removal of the tissues of the waste products from the tissue into the circulation. The circulation is divided into systemic circulation and pulmonary circulation. The systemic circulation is the passage of blood from the left ventricle to the tissues and from the tissue into the right atrium. It comprises about 85% of the blood. The systemic circulation supplies blood to all tissues of the body except the lung. So, the systemic circulation is called as the greater circulation or the peripheral circulation. Now, let us have a look at the pulmonary circulation. The pulmonary circulation is the passage of blood from the right ventricle to the lung and from the lung to the left atrium. It comprises about 9% of the blood. Function classification of blood vessels. The blood vessels in our body are classified into 4. Number 1 is the distribution vessels, which are the arteries. Number 2 are the resistant vessels, which are the arterioles. Number 3 are the exchange vessels, which are the capillaries, and lastly the capacitant vessels, which are venules and the veins. This is the picture showing the artery, which then divides to form an arteriole, which is a smaller version of the artery. Then the arterioles open into the capillaries, then the capillaries, many capillaries combine to form the venules, and finally the many venules combine to form the veins. As we can see in the artery, the lumen is quite small and the lumen in the vein is large. The muscular wall of the artery is much more strong, so it can withstand a high pressure, whereas in case of vein the muscular layer is less, so it can withstand a very low pressure. The arteries. Arteries can withstand a high velocity of blood as they have a strong muscular wall, and the main function of the arteries is to transport blood under high pressure to the tissues. Arterioles. Arterioles are the smallest branch of the arterial system. They act as control channels which helps to transport the blood into the capillaries. The capillaries have a strong muscular wall that can close the arterioles completely or relax or dilate to a several fold. Thus, they have the ability to alter the amount of blood which is flowing into the tissues. Capillaries. The walls of the capillaries are extremely thin, consist of a single endothelial layer, and they have multiple capillary pores which are permeable to water and other molecular substances. The function of the capillaries is to exchange fluid, nutrients, electrolytes, hormones and other substances between the blood and the interstitial fluid and the tissue. The venules. The venules are a little larger than the arterioles, and it collects blood from the capillaries and gradually combine to form large veins. Lastly are the veins. They act as channel for the transport of blood from all over the body via the venules back to the heart. The veins act as a major reservoir of extra blood because the pressure in the venous system is very low. The venous walls are thin and they are less muscular to contract or expand for the extra amount of blood to accommodate depending on the need of the circulation. What are the factors maintaining circulation? Number 1 is the pumping action of the heart. Number 2 is elastic recoil tendency of the arteries. Number 3 is the pressure gradient. Number 4, respiration. Number 5 is muscular exercise, and lastly number 6 is the effect of gravity. Now we are going to look at the interrelationship between pressure, flow and resistance. What is blood flow? Blood flow means the quantity of blood that passes through a given point in the circulation in a given period of time. It is usually expressed in milliliters per minute or liters per minute. The overall blood flow in the circulation of an adult person who is at rest is about 5000 ml per minute, or it is 5 liters per minute. This is called as a cardiac output. It is the amount of blood which is pumped out by the aorta from the heart each minute. The types of blood flow. Number 1 is the laminar blood flow. Laminar blood flow is when the blood flows at a steady rate through a long smooth vessel. It flows in streamline with each layer of blood remaining the same distance from the vessel wall. The centermost portion of the blood stays in the center of the vessel. So, this type of flow is called the laminar flow or the streamline. Secondly is the turbulent flow. When blood flows in all directions in the vessel and continually mixing within the vessel, forming whools which are called as the eddy currents, then the flow is said to be turbulent. This is the picture showing the laminar flow as well as the turbulent flow. As we can see in laminar flow, the layer of the fluid, the layer of the blood are from the same equidistance from the vessel wall, whereas in case of turbulent flow, all the layers are moving in different direction, forming eddy currents. Normally, the blood which is near the wall of the vessel flows very slowly as it adheres to the vascular endothelium, whereas that in the middle of the vessel flows much rapidly. Blood flow in the vessel is determined by 2 factors. Number 1 is the pressure gradient, number 2 is the vascular resistance. What is pressure gradient? Pressure gradient is a pressure difference of blood between 2 ends of the vessel which helps the blood to propel forward, is called as the pressure gradient. And vascular resistance is the impediment to the blood flow through the vessels, is called as the vascular resistance. Blood flow to the vessel can be calculated by 2 formulas. Number 1 is the Ohm's law. According to Ohm's law, it says the blood flow is directly proportional to the pressure difference across the vessels and inversely proportional to the vascular resistance. The second law is Poiseuille's law. According to this law, it says that the blood flow is directly proportional to the pressure difference and directly proportional to the 4th power of the radius and inversely proportional to the length and the viscosity of the blood. Microcirculation. What is microcirculation? Microcirculation is a meshwork of vessels which are smaller than 100 micrometer in diameter and which cannot be seen with naked eyes. What are the components of microcirculation? It consists of the arterioles, meta-arterioles, precapillary sphincter, capillaries and the venules. The function of the microcirculation. It helps to transport nutrients to the tissues and remove cell excreta. That is all for today. Thank you very much.